Shohei Ohtani and his interpreter are in a little hot water. Breaking news with the interpreter having some allegations against him that he wired money and stole money from Shohei Ohtani in order to cover gambling debts. So this is like hot news. Of course, Omar and I are actually together today. So this is like huge news right there. So we figure we cover this and just whip this together. The news just broke. This is courtesy of Yahoo Sports, but it's all over the baseball world. You can see here, it's very confusing, as this headline says. Piecing together what's confusing in terms of the timeline and also the details that we've been told so far. So really quickly, if you just catching on to what's going on or just hearing about it, on Wednesday morning, with his biggest superstar, Shohei Ohtani, leading the Dodgers to a win, the scandal then came. Specifically, Ohtani's longtime interpreter and friend, Ippei Mizuhara, was fired by the Dodgers after being reported to have stolen millions of dollars from the two-way phenom to cover his gambling debts. The story stunned the baseball world by dropping out of nowhere Wednesday and only got more confusing as details emerged. A lengthy ESPN report laid out what was clearly bizarre situation behind the scenes, all centered on the claim that Ohtani had agreed to cover Mizuhara's debts. An Ohtani spokesman reportedly claimed that to be the case to ESPN, only to reverse course one day later and get the Sluggers' legal team involved. Yeah, so
got to get the lawyers involved.
Don't
say too much.
Once you got to get those lawyers involved, you talking. There's some serious stuff going on. So what do we make of all of this going on with $700 million man Shohei Ohtani and his longtime friend? Let's not forget, longtime friend and interpreter who went ahead and allegedly did dealings with illegal bookmakers to do some gambling debts that he said he had an addiction for. This is a lot of stuff, and it's still early, but what do you make of all this at this point?
Well, there's already a lot of people talking about how this reminds them of the Pete Rose stuff, and it's because obviously when you think of Pete Rose, unfortunately, you don't think of the best hitter who ever lived. You think of gambling, right? So they're already linking Ohtani to Pete Rose, and I think that's a little bit early to do all that. But this is just horrible news because of when it's happening. It's happening. This is the second game of the season. You understand? There's no worse time for this to happen. On top of Ohtani signing the $700 million contract, in our opinion, that contract is nuts. But this is just this is going to be interesting to see how it unfolds because again, we've read stories too that they've been what do you call it? Looking this up since January, right? The FBI, whoever's involved here has been, researching this, and so this has been going on a while. So to see, it's kind of weird though when you think about the story that someone a total of $4.5 million, right? They said, if I took $4.5 million from you, you'll know I took $4.5 million from you.
I'm gonna notice.
I think after I take $100 from you, you're gonna be like, "What's going on with this?" So someone was able to take his good friend. I don't know if his best friend, but he's pretty much traveling with him everywhere. Every day, his interpreter helping him out, whatever. I'm sure they have a great bond, and when is enough? I guess $4.5 million is when enough, right? When he figures like there's just. Where's my money, man? What's going on? So I think it's going to be interesting because, again, I think a lot of the theories are going to come out like, is Ohtani involved in the gambling, or is it just this guy, or is this guy the fall guy? I don't know. I hope not because, again, I really like Ohtani. He's one of my favorite baseball players and athletes in general. I love the guy. I love what he stands for. He's a good overall guy. But I think, again, this is just – there's going to be more stuff coming out from this. This is just the tip of the iceberg, I think.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you. I think this is a total deal where we're going to get more information on it. And I think it's going to get uglier and uglier as we go. This is a scary situation for baseball because Shohei Ohtani is the face of baseball right now.
Yeah.
Okay. He's a two-way phenomenon. We've talked about him. And, we think obviously the contract was a crazy one from that standpoint. You could go back to our other videos. But that aside, it's not great when you have someone who is the face of baseball, who you really have as someone with a clean image, from day one to when this unfolded. And I think this is going to have a real impact, not only on the game of baseball in terms of the optics of it for casual baseball fans, but also for the fans of Ohtani, right? And his legacy. Like, what is this going to mean when you have things that happen to certain players, whether it's one blemish, whether it's a big thing or a lot of little small things? Sometimes the long lasting legacy for that player gets tarnished because of this stuff. So what kind of legacy will this create for Shohei Ohtani, even if he's a phenomenal player for the rest of his career? That's going to be up for, the court of public opinion, right? And in terms of what does that mean? And also, to your point, Omar brought up the point about Pete Rose, right? He's got the lifetime ban for baseball. Is there some hypocrisy here with the fact that you have Pete Rose, who can't get into the Hall of Fame, which is well-deserved, but you're going to continue to let Shohei Ohtani play when he's got potentially some stuff that's going on here, allegedly, where there's involvement, at least indirectly, with some sort of funding to help cover debts for gambling. So no matter how much of a golden boy he is on the baseball front for his talents, there is involvement some way, somehow with Shohei Ohtani tied to the gambling that he helped to get his friend out of with his addiction. So it's a really interesting thing. And I agree with you, Omar, on the fact that when there's smoke, there's fire. No one I know is going to let $4.5 million in wire transfers just go missing without asking questions when it gets to, I don't know, what's an amount that you're going to notice if you have $700 million? Like $1 million? I think at $1 million, I'm probably going to say, wait a minute, I just noticed I'm missing $1 million. So when you get to that amount, there's got to be an amount before 4.5 million that you're just saying, wait a minute, something's not right. So it seems to me like, at least right now, there's a lot of finger pointing. Like everybody's like, oh, it was him and the interpreter, and then the interpreter saying it was this guy and this guy saying it was this guy. But nobody wants to point a finger at Shohei Ohtani. And at some point, I'm not saying I want him to be in trouble, because I don't. I love him for the game of baseball, and we need more superstars in baseball. I think we can all agree on that. Yeah. But the truth is the truth. And if he had involvement, he should also be held accountable if that's the case. Let's not just sweep it under the rug because he is Shohei Ohtani, because there's been a lot of baseball players that have fallen on the sword for whether it's the sticky stuff on baseballs, it's steroids, right? And then they get blackballed. So is Shohei Ohtani going to get the pass? I mean, you guys got to let us know. What's your opinion on how this should shake out, how it's going to shake out? It's early days. We'll try to keep covering it, but it's crazy that we were together and this news just broke out, and Omar and we got to talk about this. So
So last thing I was going to actually say is, do you know Japanese?
I don't know Japanese.
Well, because
I'm going to practice though.
Because we should, because there's a new job opportunity to be his interpreter. And maybe we could do it if we learn how to speak Japanese. I'll take that job any day and I won't gamble.
I mean, that's a good point though. This was Mizuhara's livelihood. Let's be real. This was his livelihood. He was following around Shohei Ohtani and interpreting for him. That was his job. And he was living a great lifestyle doing it. You would risk that. Let's just be real. You would risk that.
That's a great job
for, gambling. Let's say you have an addiction. That's a really difficult thing. But with Ohtani being someone who supports you and has your backing and is enough to say, but allegedly was going to cover, his gambling debts, right? That's how his involvement came into it. If that's the case, wouldn't Ohtani say, hey, let me pay for you to get help. Let me pay for you to get gambling addiction help. I mean, there's 1-800, gambler if you have help, right? For free. Yeah. You telling me Ohtani couldn't afford the best gambling help for his longtime friend and interpreter? Something just doesn't smell right. And we're not going to figure it out here today. We're hoping that you guys can let us know in the comments exactly what's going on here. What are your thoughts on Shohei Ohtani, this breaking news with his interpreter getting fired by the Dodgers, and these accusations on Ohtani potentially being involved on covering some of these gambling debts? You let us know in the comments what you think, and we're going to catch you all on the next one.